Hey everyone, time for a pop quiz. Tell me, what's the difference between this mix
Beyond the bodies of black cross, shining like 1,000 suns.
and this mix?
Dispel the frozen lake.
So could you hear the difference? You probably did. Can you tell me what the difference is? Before I go on, put it in the comments down below and we'll check if you're right. Now, let's dive into the DAW and take a look at what we're doing. Okay, so we're in our session, and I'm going to give you a hint. You may notice that I have everything highlighted, and there is just one plugin on all of these highlighted tracks. But on all of these tracks, there's just one plugin, and it's an instance of the stock EQ. And I'm not doing any adding on any of these EQs. In fact, I'm only using one parameter in all of these EQs, and it's almost the same all the way across, but we can adjust it. You want to know what that one is? It's a low cut. I am cleaning up all of the low end energy inside this mix between A and B. And it really opens things up and allows for a lot more of our low end, our basses and our kicks and maybe some low synths to actually live in that sub area. So let me open up any one of these because it really doesn't matter. So here's my EQ on my electric guitar. This is just a low cut on all of these channels, vocals, background vocals, guitars, bass, kick, snare, all of them. There is a low cut on all of them. And the slope changes per, and these guitars, maybe I want it to be a little more aggressive. I can go with a 36 dB per octave cut. This is more drastic. Let's quickly explain why this is more drastic. If I put this number to 200, 1 octave below 200 is 100. Simple math. We just divide it in half. And it works that way if you want to go up as well. You just double it and 200 octave up, 400. So if we're doing a 36 dB per octave cut on our low cut filter, what that means is with our target frequency at 200, that means 1 octave lower is going to be reduced by 36 dB. Now, looking at the user interface here, we already have a pretty substantial cut because it comes above 200 hertz as well. But the slope indicator is how much below your target frequency per octave it's going to be reduced. So another octave down from there, so from 100 down to 50, is an additional 36 dB of reduction from 200 hertz. So at 200, there's a little bit. At 100, it's 36 dB lower than that. And at 50, it's lower than that. All making sense? With all of this reduction, we can bring our low cut filters higher. And yes, we will reduce some of our low energy, but what it allows us to do is remove low energy from sources that don't need it so that we can prioritize sources that do. Once again, let's do that A-B with the low cuts and without the low cuts. And this time, listen to the low end. And sure, at points, it may not seem as powerful, but right now we're reducing the amount of noise and clutter in the low end so we can bolster it later. Take a listen. Here's the before.
Beyond the bodies of black cross, shining like 1,000 suns.
And here's the after again.
Beyond the bodies of black cross, shining like 1,000 suns.
With the reduction of low-end energy in sources that do not need it, we now have more area for things like our kick drum and our bass guitar to live in. We can have those round out our lows, give that nice warm feeling that you're looking for. Plus, by reducing it everywhere else, your mix bus compressor, which we do not have on in this session right now, is not getting triggered by that low-end energy. Therefore, your mix compressor isn't doing as much work because it's not being falsely triggered by all this extra low end. It's going to be more accurate and a little bit tighter on your compressor and all of its settings. And that's why doing some reductive EQs before hitting a compressor is a good thing. You are not triggering the compressor with this extra noise. That can go for your mix bus or your individual sources as well. An EQ beforehand cleans up the stuff that you don't want leveled out. We can do a very similar kind of thing with our top end as well. We can get rid of the top end on things that do not need extra top end. And you'd be surprised how much this will clean up your productions because you're getting rid of stuff you don't need already. And that's how powerful filters can be, whether it be low pass or high pass. And don't be afraid to go a little bit above the norm. By default, the low cut filter on the Studio One stock EQ is set to 75 hertz. On my guitars, I have it up to 200. Yes, that's into some of the intelligible and note range for guitars, but I'm reducing the lows and I'm playing around with where I want this. I know I can have a nice low energy from these guitars even with my low cut that high. I can just bring a little low EQ up to add some power if I need to. I'm really reducing all the stuff way further down that we don't need. Low-end filters can be very powerful. Explore yours, use them in your productions, get rid of the stuff you don't need, and do it at the top end as well. Filters can be very powerful. In a future video, we're going to go over how this low energy can affect a compressor on the mix bus. So make sure you're subscribed. And until then, happy mixing, and I'll see you next time.